everybody from Thunder Ridge Homestead. How y'all doing today? I'm doing pretty good. We had a busy day here on the homestead. In case you guys weren't part of our live stream, we had some more ewes lamb yesterday, and I was able to get most of it on the live stream, which is a good thing. We have the oldest ewe that we own, the oldest Katadni. Her name is Dot, and she went into labor yesterday. And her daughter from 2 years ago, whose name is Eula, also went into labor at the same time. So we had 2 ewes lambing. And if that wouldn't make it exciting enough, we had triplets twice. So we had lambs getting shelled out like beans yesterday. It was pretty amazing. I'm going to turn the camera around this morning and let you guys have a little look at the babies we got and just share some of our good news on the homestead. So far everybody is doing well. We had Eula's first lamb was born breech. It was a boy. He did well. She was able to deliver him normally because she is a big strong ewe, and delivered him, and we got him out of the sack and everything was going good. And then we had a second boy lamb from her that's white that was born normally, and then she had the third little boy, and he's kind of a brown and white color. And so just those are her 3. And then Dot, her first one was a red girl, her second one was a red and white boy, little job with a big mouth, and then the third one was a great big brown and white boy, and he was actually born with one leg back, but we had enough room in there after the other 2 were out that he was able to be pulled out just perfectly fine. Got them all up. They're all nursing. Mamas are taking care of all the babies, and it couldn't be a bigger blessing. God is very good to us on the homestead. And I just want to take this moment to say that if you guys do not believe in the Lord Jesus Christ as your Savior, you're missing out, because He is a mighty wonderful guy. He takes very good care of us. So I'm going to quit my yakking and my talking head and give you a look at these babies. You're going to like it. There's Mrs. Dottie Body, and she has her babies. We keep them in these little small pens for the first 2 to 3 days, depending on how well everybody's doing. The little small pen like this is called a lambing jug, and the reason you do this is so that each mama will learn to recognize her own babies, and the babies will learn to recognize their own mama, and it really helps just the whole family situation. Keeps everybody doing what they're supposed to be doing. There's a little red and white boy coming up from underneath, if you can see him. That kid's got a mouth on him. And as you can see, this brown one that's right directly behind her, brown with a white face, that's the one that had one leg back when it was born. And he's a big one. So of course I'm going to ask you guys to put your name suggestions in the comments, right? So we have 1 girl and 2 boys in this batch. And then in the jug right next door to her here, scoot this back just a little bit. Here's Eula. As you can see, Eula's a big girl. And she also has her 3 lambs. This little one right in the front is a boy. Matter of fact, all of hers are boys. The little one right here in the front was the last one born. And he popped out at about probably close to 10 o'clock last night, 9:30, 10 o'clock. Get this a little bit better angle maybe. But he came out just ready to roll. As you can see, he's got a good hold on the pipe, and he's just having some breakfast this morning. We'll just watch her for a minute. You'll be able to see the rest of hers better. Again, we're looking for some name suggestions for Eula's babies. So she has this little red one. The second one born is all white, and the first one born is either really dark brown or black and white. And that's the one that was born backwards breech. We got our first indicator that we were going to have lambs yesterday at about 3:30 is when I came out here to start moving people around a little bit and get our lamb situation going. And like I said, I was done lambing actually at about 9:30, close to 10 o'clock. But I did not get out of the barn until it was about 11:30, 45 or 12, something like that. It's something to really consider and think about when you're thinking about having livestock like this, because you have to be willing to give the time and the effort, and they're not going to work around your schedule. You have to work around their schedule. Very, very, very important. See the one coming around now from behind her? This was the one that was born breech. He's very pretty. And he's little, I think he's actually brown and white, but he's just so dark he looks almost black and white. And like I said, last night, he was the one that was a little bit having a little trouble because he kind of had a rough start. And I actually gave him a little bit of what I call go juice, in other words, powdered colostrum, to make sure he got on and got latched. I may actually give him a little more this morning. We'll have to see how he's doing, if I think he really needs it or not. I try to let her give him as much as she can give him and do for them as much as she can do for them, because they'll thrive better that way in the long run. And like I said, the biggest part of it is just accepting the babies. When you've got this many babies, sometimes they don't want to take the third one. But, you know, these are both real good mothery ewes, so let's see if he gets hooked on here too. There he is. He's plugged on drinking some milky. Like I said, I'd rather him drink her milk because it's got all the best stuff in it than I would give him some powder. So if he can drink that, that's better for him. And you can usually tell when they actually catch on the spigot and start getting some goodie, because their tails will start going a little bit. I'm going to turn around here and we're going to take a look at this little red and white guy. He was the other one that was a little bit touch and go yesterday. I say that, not really. He was never really weak or puny or to where I thought he was going to die or I had to tube him or anything. But she had the first one and had time to clean it up. And then she had the second one and got it just a little bit started on the cleanup. And then she started having the third one and started having a little bit of trouble. So the second one kind of got a little ignored. You know, the middle child syndrome, where the last child just doesn't get quite enough attention, or middle child. That's happened to this one too. So we'll go back over here to Eula. I think I am going to give a little bit of milk to this black, brown, and white one, because the others are more aggressive eaters, and he's going to need a little bit of booster. You have to be pretty aggressive when you're a triplet. You can't wait around or there won't be any groceries. Everybody else will take them from you. So I'm going to hit pause and feed this little guy. Like I said, this is what I call Go Juice. It is powdered colostrum replacer, which is different than milk replacer. It has probiotics and stuff in it. A lot more so. It was in a bag of hot water, so this is a nice warm bottle. It's a regular baby bottle, folks, just like you want a baby bottle for babies. See if this little guy can get a little extra. Come on, baby. For those of you, I know some people I've talked to, they didn't understand that a bottle nipple cannot be on tight. It has to have a little bit of an air breather. I've had people that don't know how to bottle feed babies, so they didn't know how to bottle feed lambs. Come here. Like I said, he has had some mama milk, so might not be that hungry. Again, to give a little more extras in there. Come on. Come on. Don't complain. Don't complain. Come on. And he's not real happy, but he can just handle himself. Sometimes if you rub him in the back a little bit, it'll kind of jazz him up. Come on. He's not giving me a good suck yet, but he is getting some dribble down there just because of what I'm doing. And he's swallowing. Come on. Come on. Come on. One of the things you need to have in your lamb kit is lamb. It's a tube feeder, and sometimes you'll have them that are really weak and they just don't have the energy, and sometimes just giving them a little calories will really make a huge difference. It'll save their lives. Come on. Okay, we got about probably a couple ounces in there anyway. It doesn't have to be a whole lot, because like I said, he might have already had quite a bit of mama's milk. You just don't know. We did see him latch, so we know that he actually had some mama's milk, but I was just trying to give him a little extra. Turn around here. If we can show you the lammies again instead of me. There we go. He says, I'm going to go back here and see what's for groceries, Mom. If you ever have to bottle feed a baby of any kind, whether it's a sheep, a lamb, a dog, I don't care what it is, the absolute most important thing is being clean. You need to have clean, sterilized bottles, clean, sterilized nipples. You need to make sure that the water has been boiled before it's cooled down to make the formula. You want everything as absolutely clean as possible, because all you need to do is introduce a stomach bug of some kind into one of these little babies, and you will wish you, well, it'll just be very, very bad. I've had a lot of experience with babies, because we've bottle raised kittens, we've bottle raised rabbits, we've bottle raised and I'm talking wild rabbits. We had pinky rabbits that we raised from pinkies all the way up to where we released them. We had pinky squirrels that we've raised. We've raised raccoons. We used to have a wild animal permit, and we were brought animals that were in need of foster care, and people would find, you know, a baby raccoon or something laying someplace, and they'd bring it to us, and we bottle feed it and, you know, get it back alive and release it in the woods somewhere when it got old enough. So had a lot of bottle feeding in my life. She's so big and hairy, it's hard to see them. The green bag behind her there has got her hay in it. She's got it all kind of turned around backwards right now. And she just had a breakfast of some alfalfa pellets. Of course, Eula gobbled hers down because she's always hungry. Aren't you, Beba? Yeah, she's a good girl. I'm going to look over here at this little girl again. And her babies. See, she just had a little bit more pellets. And then, once you keep turning the camera a little bit farther, and you will see our last ewe that's left to lamb in Time. And Time is an example of what can, like a tube baby can be. When Time was born, she was a vet delivery. Her mother had 2 large lambs and 2 teeny tiny, like the size of your thumb, lambs inside. And the 2 that were full size were presented spine first, so they were like folded in half with their backbone trying to come out first, which was just, that will not happen. We thought we were going to end up with a C-section, and we thought we were going to have to like lose maybe the lambs, maybe definitely the mom, one way or the other. It was just a mess. And so what happened was, we have a wonderful, amazing veterinarian, and he came and he worked on them, and he was able to turn them around inside, and Time was the first out. And if you ever see her in any of my videos, you'll notice that she's kind of a little bit lopsided, and that's because when she was born, all of her ribs, well, many of her ribs were broken, and they actually separated from her sternum, which is the little plate in the very front of your rib cage down on the breastbone of the sheep. And, you know, she was pretty touch and go. She was just a little limp rag for about the first 24 to 36 hours. My oldest daughter was a vet tech for many, many years, and she was here, thank God, and she was helping the vet, and she was able to tube feed the colostrum to this one. And after that, it's like, you know, just like flipping on a switch. She was suddenly, you know, so much better and just doing really, you know, excited and moving around and really doing well. Makes just a huge amount of difference. So that's something to really, you know, take into account. Time spent her first 24 hours in my bathtub. I had a towel and everything situated in there, and went in and fed her about every 2 hours. So she got better, obviously, and I was kind of concerned about the way she was formed, if she was going to be able to lamb. But last year she had 2 lambs just fine, and she's pregnant again this year, so she shouldn't have any problems in the foreseeable, you know, issues or anything. So I have hay nets, but I piled Dot's hay up in the corner like that because I didn't want any sharp corners, and this pin kind of has a sharp corner in it, and I didn't want her to have a lamb get stuck in a corner or anything and not be able to get out. So that's why the hay is piled up like it is. And then we'll go over here, and Eula's got all of hers kind of where you can see them a little bit now. And when they're first born, they do kind of like, if you're a breastfeeding human, they call it cluster feeding, where they will so. And you can imagine with triplets, you've usually got 1 resting, maybe 2 resting, one of them's nursing, just like constantly. And this morning I was watching on my camera, because I do have a barn camera, and Dot was laying down and really sleeping. and I mean like all the way down flat, stretched out, really actually having a good rest, which she needed after yesterday's delivery. And this little red guy, red and white went down there that's now sleeping nicely, was hungry, and he was having the biggest crybaby, big mouth fit that you'd ever seen, and tried to get her to wake up. And she was so much like every mother I've ever known when the baby starts crying, because she opened up her eye and she kind of looked with her eye at the baby, and she just kept laying there very quietly, and then like, please go back to sleep, please go back to sleep, please go back to sleep. She just kind of kept playing possum, and then sure enough, the little baby laid back down, went back to sleep, and Dot just goes, oh. She was able to go right back to bed too. So sometimes that happens even with sheep. But I know there's a lot of moms out there that have had that happen, where they're like hearing that kid and they go, oh, come on, just go back to sleep. It's really cooled off today. It's probably only in the 40s. But we're still in the dry from the barn roof being fixed. And we've got a whole bunch of happy companions. One of the most important things for these milking ewes is to have plenty of water, and be sure that the water bucket is up high enough that the babies cannot fall in it, because as you see, they're pretty staggering around when they're little, when they're first born. They don't have good, they're still on their sea legs, and when you've got legs like that, it's like it's real hard to keep yourself from falling down, and if you fall head first in a bucket, you can't get out. I did live stream this double set of triplets, so if you guys have a chance, you might look on the live stream. It's a 5-hour live stream, so be prepared. And it's pretty raw and pretty gross, and you get to see me in some of my very best shots ever. No, where I'm like, you know, Heine first in front of the camera. So not exactly your most photogenic moments, but if you really want to see what happens when you have two ewes delivering triplets at the same time, we live streamed all except for the very last triplet, and our feed dropped, so we got 5 of them being delivered in that video. And some people would say not for children, but you know what? I think children need to see some of this too, so they know what's going on when they're, you know, appropriate ages. Not when they're little bitty, but definitely by the time you're a middle schooler, you got to be able to watch a live birth without having too much problems. And that's just my opinion. I know there are people out there that'll disagree. Do you see how this little firstborn one, he's not as aggressive. He's not getting in there and really getting going, so that's why I'm going to have to probably feed him a little bit and get him some extra groceries. He's definitely getting some, but maybe not quite enough to thrive. And everybody asked what happened to Honey and her babies, because she has babies that are 2 days old. And I will take you guys and show you right now what happened to Honey. When we were in the thick of it, we decided we needed to move her so that these two new mamas could be on the camera. And Honey's babies have been around a while, so I'm not as worried about them. They're all eating and doing really, really well. So you see we've got a pen over here. That's where my ram lives in this, but we took the ram visiting. He's being boarded out for a few months. There's the turkey pen. And Jake's kind of mad at me this morning. He's always mad at me. And if you look in here, you will be able to see Honey and her two babies. They're just resting. So I'm going to take her little bucket out of here. I want you guys maybe get a little look at her for a minute. Her and her babies. I had a hay net up for her, but I'm going to try to use the feeder. I think her lambs are large enough now that they're not going to get in trouble, get tangled up or anything. So that's why I'm doing what I'm doing. In addition to the fresh water and plenty of hay rules, we also usually offer them a little bit of loose sheep mineral after they've delivered. Sometimes they need a little bit of extra supplement or a little bit of something. To lift that up again so you can see this little white one sleeping. He's pretty cute. Or she. These are girls. She's pretty cute too. There she is. Sleeping over there with sister. We can hold it over here and get a little bit better shot. So you guys can see what's going on. There we go. There we go. And just resting calmly. They were out playing yesterday for a while, and they'll probably get out again. I don't know about today, but maybe tomorrow. It is cold and rainy again today here, which is, you know, not your best lamb weather. So and then we've got the turkeys in here. But I just wanted to give you all a little update from Thunder Ridge Homestead and let you see our new babies. If you like this video, hit that like button and subscribe and share it if you want to. And I also will remind you that if you hit that little bell icon after you're a subscriber of mine, you'll get notified anytime we live stream. That's why when some of my subscribers saw that live stream notification pop up, they were able to see these babies being born. And we had several people on there actually watched most of the live stream. So we still have one more ewe that needs to lamb. If you want to watch her have her babies, subscribe and hit that bell. Thanks for watching.